Hello everyone, welcome to the second SnowMirror webinar. We shall start. Please note that this webinar is being recorded and of course you will be notified about the recording after this webinar ends, and we will publish the video on our website as well. There is a second round of this webinar taking place next week on Wednesday. So perhaps if you missed or some of your colleagues is missing this webinar, then please feel free to register for the next week as well. So this time the topic is how to integrate Tableau with ServiceNow. And first of all, please let me introduce myself. My name is Pavel Miller, and basically I am a ServiceNow architect. I used to be a Java software architect, and I'm a solution architect, and I've been working with ServiceNow since 2011, working for Guide Vision, which is...
I got another check-up with him next week, next Friday, just to see how everything's going.
Hello, everybody who's joining. I would like to ask you to mute your microphone so we have no background noise for the rest of us. Thank you. So I'm working for Guide Vision, which is a gold ServiceNow partner here in Europe, and my main focus is integrations. So I am a SnowMirror product manager, and I do a lot of other ServiceNow integrations, such as connector with Jira and some other tools. You can see my email. Please do not hesitate to send me a direct email if you have any questions, or if you need to have a private demo or something. It's perfectly fine. Of course, if there is any questions during the webinar, please feel free to interrupt me and ask a question. Of course, there's going to be a section for questions at the end of the session. So, what is the agenda for today? First of all, I will tell you something more about the ServiceNow ODBC driver, how it works, and what is behind it. Then I would like to talk more generally about the cloud reporting. What can be the approaches? It's not just ServiceNow specific, but you can use these approaches for other cloud services as well. And then, of course, I will introduce SnowMirror, which we will be using for replicating the ServiceNow data to be able, in order to produce some reports in Tableau. And then 4 and 5 is really the demo. So I would like to give a demo of really a live demo how to create reports using ServiceNow data. So that's the agenda for today. So let's start with the ServiceNow ODBC driver, which is a natural choice. If you have a task or requirement to connect to the ServiceNow instance and do some dashboarding or reporting, then this is really a natural choice for you guys to select something that ServiceNow is producing. And I would like to give you some detailed information about it. First of all, that ServiceNow, unlike some other cloud services, is not really having any bulk API. So there is simply no way how to access the data in some bulk way for producing reports or something like that. There is a scheduled export as one of the features, but this one is really not working for reporting because it's just producing some CSV files. So, for example, unlike Salesforce, there is no bulk API, there is no direct database access for the cloud customers. If you are having a ServiceNow in on-premise, then of course there is a database under your control, but for the cloud instances, there is no direct access to the database. Even we, as ServiceNow partners, we have no way how to get into such a database. And the ServiceNow ODBC driver might sound like something that is actually accessing the underlying ServiceNow database, but it's simply not true. I would like to ask participants to mute the microphones, please, so we don't have any background noise. Thank you. So again, I think the most important message here is that the ServiceNow ODBC driver is just a wrapper around the so-called direct web services, which is a transactional API based on SOAP web services. And so this is the ODBC driver is simply translating all the queries that you send via the ODBC driver into the HTTP requests that are simply accessing the ServiceNow.
Need some business here?
Yeah. Not bad.
So about in this area, there's everything you could ever want around here, isn't there?
Yeah, we are just open like 4 months back.
Oh, okay.
It's new, so.
I would like to ask Kumar if you could please.
Would you find the 5,900 block because mine needs updated? So I just put in 5,899.
Oh, sorry, guys. So again, the message is that the ODBC driver is not a real driver. It is just translating the SQL queries into HTTP SOAP requests. And of course, if you look into the feedback, you see on the community side that you will find that it's pretty hard to configure and maintain the ODBC driver. So it's a little bit tough to make it up and running. And of course, because it is not a real driver, then it has some limited features, especially in the functions that you can send via the queries. It supports only select, no data manipulation is supported, etc. You will probably find the limitations pretty soon. And of course, and I will talk about it on the next slide, it is accessing the live instance. So generally speaking about cloud reporting, then you have several options that I would like to discuss. And the first option is, again, the natural one. You have a cloud service and you need some reports being done from your environment, for example, from your existing reporting tool or Excel or Tableau, which is our topic today. So you simply connect Tableau to using some API to the cloud. But this is not a good idea, I would say. There is a couple of limitations you have to understand. The first of all, that you are limited on data. Some cloud services are limiting the number of API calls, such as Salesforce. Some of them are having some export limits, such as ServiceNow. The default limit is like 10,000 records. Of course, the limitation is time, because you have to pull all the data through the network to your reporting tool. And imagine having 1 million incidents and 2 million CMDB/CIs, right? So then performing the queries might be really time-consuming. Then, of course, there is an issue with security, because the reports are being run under typically your own user account with some limited access. But then it's this personal account or these personal credentials are simply limiting you on the data you view. On the other hand, if you increase the permissions for all of your guys performing reporting, then you are having security holes or security incidents because many of your colleagues simply having too high permissions. And of course, the limitation is that you see just the current snapshot of the data, and you have no history, no data warehouse or something. And I would say that the highest issue or the worst issue is that you are running the reports against your production environment, simply against the live API.
You moved it
So
already.
this is simply not the best practice.
That's fine.
A little too heavy.
It's simply not the best practice to run the reports against your ServiceNow instance, which is production, which might be affecting really the performance. So I wouldn't recommend that generally. So the other approach could be something which is called mirroring or read replica. And simply this is something like a fetch and store model when you are getting snapshots or updates or deltas from your ServiceNow or cloud service into a replicated storage. It could be a cloud storage, it could be an on-premise storage, whatever. But the benefits are obvious. The reporting is much faster because you really have the data where you are typically producing the reports and you are not affecting the production environment. You are having the data in a shape that supports reporting, so it even the reports can be more produced faster. You are able to produce some historical data, loading it into a data warehouse or something. Again, higher security. You can limit access to such a replica, and of course, you can blend many data sources to produce more valuable resources. So really having a dedicated reporting environment is a best practice, unlike running reports against live cloud services. So there are two approaches, even our customers or our user base is doing, and you can select from these two approaches as well. This is ServiceNow already, but really having something like an operational data store or really just a data mirror, however you call it, is something that really is just a copy of the data being regularly updated or replicated from your ServiceNow instance. And then you are producing reports really on top of this replica. So in this case, you would be connecting Tableau to the on-premise database directly to the copy. So I would say about 50% of our user base is having this approach, and then the rest of our users is having a more complicated approach where they are using the read replica or the replicated database as a staging area only. So they have a copy of the data and then running custom ETL processes to load their data warehouses or building data marts. So in this case, you would be using Tableau on top of your data mart or data warehouse. So of course, you would have to build, or if you have an existing environment, you would have to produce these ETL processes. So these are two basic approaches we see. It really depends on your environment or on your requirements, but really what I would suggest or I would recommend is not using your live ServiceNow instance to produce reports, but to prepare a dedicated reporting environment. So from the Tableau point of view, there is no native support for ServiceNow cloud instances. It looks like they are working on that, and they might be having it like soon or during this year. But still, even if they produce such a connector and they will market it as a new feature, it will still be based on the same technology as the ServiceNow ODBC driver, because there is no other way. They will have to use the ServiceNow web services as well, so the limitations will be very similar to those of this ServiceNow ODBC driver. So on the other hand, Tableau is having a very strong database support. So if you would be using this operational data store or data mart, then you will be having better results with Tableau anyway. So from the Tableau perspective, I would still recommend you having a replicated ServiceNow database, typically on-premise, to be able to analyze the data using Tableau. So we will be doing this kind of demo here. And that's what we are doing here at SnowMirror, basically. As you can see here on the picture, SnowMirror is an on-premise tool. As you can see, there is a cloud ServiceNow instance on the left, and the right rectangle is an on-premise environment. So SnowMirror is a replication agent running on one of your servers, replicating selected tables and columns from the ServiceNow cloud instance into an on-premise database. The database is not part of the solution, it is just your database, the database of your choice, such as Oracle or Microsoft SQL Server or MySQL. We are supporting many of them. And this picture then shows that then you can be using your own applications or reporting tools on top of this mirror database. So this is the approaches I was showcasing just a few minutes ago. So in this case, your application is Tableau. You would be connecting Tableau to a mirror database. We've been developing this tool since 2012. We are having more than 65 customers these days, especially in the US. Most of them are big enterprises having ServiceNow for several years. We are having a ServiceNow certification for this tool, so it is a stable and enterprise solution. How it actually works, again, this is just, I would say, an expanded image from the last slide. SnowMirror is sitting on one of your servers, such as a small virtual box. It is not a resource-intensive application. It is using the same API, but in a very efficient and clever way to replicate the data into a mirror database you are operating in your DBA environment. So very simple to install. And of course, the benefit, or the main benefit, is, I would say, 80% of our user base is using SnowMirror for reporting purposes and business intelligence, and very similar requirements as I will be showing you here in this webinar. But we have many other use cases, especially read-only integrations are interesting. Imagine that you are having several tens of integrations with your ServiceNow instance, and most of those integrations are typically read-only, such as several dashboarding tools or indexing and many other tools. And you don't want to be having a HubSpot of your ServiceNow instance. You don't want to be having high load on your production instance. So again, a very good idea from the architecture point of view is having a HubSpot from the Read replica, having a mirror database, and all of the integrations are simply reading the data from this replica. Some of our user base is using SnowMirror for disaster recovery, for those kind of scenarios. What if there is no ServiceNow anymore? So you are having the data on-premise in your own data center, and this is the business part of the business continuity plan. And of course, the benefits are that you are not putting unnecessary load on your ServiceNow instance because you are having this replica, and you could be having like instance backups or table backups as well. So today I will be showing just reporting, but SnowMirror has many other benefits as well. So the demo I will start in a few minutes. We'll be having this architecture from the image which I was having in the invitation. So we will build this environment having a ServiceNow instance, then SnowMirror replicating the data into a Microsoft SQL Server, and then we will connecting Tableau using the data from the SQL Server to produce some reports. And the target for the demo is to build something like that, to produce a report of incidents in cities by group. So we will be showing the size of the circle is number of incidents in those locations, and the pie chart is simply displaying the division by assignment groups. So let's start building such a report, and I will start with SnowMirror. So what you see here is the replication agent running on my own laptop and connecting to one of our vendor instances, replicating the data into the Microsoft SQL Server. So this is not ServiceNow, this is the user interface of the SnowMirror agent, and I will log in. And first of all, I will show you the settings, because it's very configurable. So on one side, I'm having a ServiceNow instance, on the other side, a database. So the ServiceNow instance requires just the host name and some credentials to be able to download the data. And on the other side, the database, I have configured a Microsoft SQL Server on my local host, and the database is called Mirror. So the data will go there. And so we have to produce some reports on incident management, and we will need some locations and groups and incidents. So let's start with replicating the task table, which is the parent table of incident. And as you can see, there is no table here on this screen to replicate, and I will add a new one in 3 simple steps. I will press this New Sync button, and in the first step, I will select the table to replicate. In this case, it will be task. SnowMirror allows you to replicate even the custom tables, because it reads the ServiceNow metadata. So in the first step, I will select task. And then the second step is typically very important for selecting the columns. So basically what we will need for our report is like the assignment group of those incidents or tasks and the location to be able to produce the reports, right? But of course, it doesn't make sense to replicate just these 2 columns. We can replicate all of them. I can select all of them. But of course, for example, I can remove the description column, which is not very useful for reporting, and it contains a lot of data, but I don't have to replicate all of them. So let's configure it this way. Most of the columns, but not description. I can count the records. I am using just the demo ServiceNow instance, so I'm having just a few records in there. And the last step in such a configuration is a schedule. SnowMirror is a scheduled replication, so in order to download the data, the deltas, I have to schedule the loads. So typical scenario is to have daily snapshots, like in some off-business hours at 3 o'clock in the morning, for example. So in this case, the task replication will be executed every night. And I will press finish. So as you can see, the task table replication has been scheduled for tomorrow, 3 o'clock in the morning. But of course, SnowMirror allows me to synchronize or force the synchronization manually. So I will press this sync button. And now this is important. For the first time, SnowMirror creates the table, creates the columns, and downloads all the data in the task table. So the initial run might take even a couple of hours for big instances. But every subsequent run is incremental. So only deltas are being downloaded. So even for big instances with big number of changes, the deltas are being run pretty quickly. I can show you, I have the ServiceNow instance here up and running. I can update one of those incidents here, like updating the short description. And back to SnowMirror, this time, if I synchronize it again, it will be much faster downloading just the updated record. So just okay, some background job has updated some other records as well, but you can see just the updates downloaded from the ServiceNow instance. So it was pretty quick. So let's move to Tableau, and I am having a fresh Tableau installation. And first of all, let's connect to the Microsoft SQL Server, to the instance with the ServiceNow data. So I am running the server on my local host. The database is called Mirror. I'm using some default user account, shame on me. But this time, as you can see, SnowMirror has created a task table in the Mirror database, and it has created all the columns that I selected for replication. So as you can see, we have all of the columns except the description, and one of the key columns for our report is assignment group, right? To be able to produce the report. But as you can see, this is a foreign key to some group table, right? So I won't be able to display the group name in the report. I have to join this table or join the table with the sys user group table. So it means that it requires me to download some other tables as well. So for example, I'm not having the incident table, which is the child table to task. I'm not having the group table, and I would need the location as well in order to produce the map. So let's get back to SnowMirror again and download the missing tables. So in this case, again, I can select the new sync button, but this time I will be replicating 3 tables or configuring 3 tables, so I will make use of this bulk create feature in SnowMirror, which allows me to create several replications or synchronizations at once. So we would need incident, we would need user group, and location as well. So these 3, again, all of the columns, no options yet. And again, let's make it daily at 3 o'clock in the morning, same time snapshot. I can select this option, so I want to download the data immediately, not waiting for the schedule. And let's press finish. As you can see, SnowMirror is able to replicate several tables at once. So it is now downloading the data in these tables. All right, so I think I have all the data I need for my report, and let's get back to Tableau again. I will refresh the data source. So again, you see the tables here. The key message is that SnowMirror is managing the schema for you. It is simply creating the tables, creating the columns. And let's make the joins. So basically, incident is a parent-child relationship with the task table. So it is a join using primary keys. So this is just fine. And the location and user group is simply one-to-many or many-to-one relationship. So it's like location in the task table, which is a foreign key, to a primary key, which is a sysid in the location table. And again, the group is a join from the assignment group in the task table, or the incident table, to sysid in the sysuser group. So as you can see, in order to produce reports in Tableau, you have to understand the ServiceNow data model, and you have to join the tables that are really the same as they are in the underlying ServiceNow database. So now I have the data source ready using the data in the SQL Server, and now let's produce the report. I will be using latitude and longitude from the location to make the map. So this is definitely not a measure in Tableau, but a dimension. I will use it for the map. Okay. And the number of incidents will make the size. So the number of records is going to make size. Yes. That's it. And simply the name of the assignment group, I will rename it in the report. So this will make the pie chart. Here it goes. Let's look at the tooltip. I don't like the coordinates there, so let's put some location, let's say city, into the report as well. And I don't want to see those guys in the tooltip. So that's basically it. As you can see, I simply used the replicated data to work with the data very efficiently, very quickly. I don't have to wait if the data downloads through the SOAP web services to my Tableau. I'm able to work very quickly and not affecting my live environment. So this is it. I will make it incidents by city and group. And yeah, so I have one report. What if I want to produce a second report? Let's say, let's look at how the callers are performing. How many incidents do I have by callers? Okay, and now what you see is happening. Again, caller is a reference to the sysuser table, so I'm having just the foreign key. Of course, I can replicate the sysuser table as well, and then join it with the other tables, and I will be having the same result as in the previous example. But if you really use Tableau together with the ODS replica, really just you don't have any data warehouse, just a replica, and you don't like the third normal form and you need something more simple, SnowMirror is able to help you, and I will show you a couple of features. I will replicate the incident table once again, but I will make several options here and to show you. So let's select incident table again. This time I have to rename it something like incident full, and I have to rename the target database table as well. You can choose the name of the database in your mirror as well. And I will use two important options. One of them is here, include inherited columns, which is simply flattening the hierarchy. So it simply replicates all the task columns as well. This might be really useful for configuration databases or asset management as well, because there is a big table hierarchy. And I can use all the columns, and here I can enable the reference fields. So of course the sysids or the foreign keys are important, but this time I can download display values as well into separate fields in separate columns starting with dv underscore. So I will have both the relationships and the display values of the reference records, which will make my reporting much easier, and I don't have to join so many tables. So let's just download the data. This time I can make the reporting like almost near real time. I will replicate the data every 15 minutes. So I have fresh set of incidents every 15 minutes. Let's download the data. Okay. waiting for ServiceNow to respond. Oh, here it goes. Incidents are there. And I will make a new Tableau sheet for you. This time I will use the table incidents full. So in this case, this is again the incident table, but the important difference is these DV columns. So these are display values. So as you can see here, DV caller ID contains really the names of the users and not just the foreign keys. So other relationships and other choices are here as well. It might make my reporting much easier. So in this case, I am having the caller as a dimension. Oh no, the DV caller, sorry. And the number of records here. Right? So even if I want to make it more complicated by category, I can put DV category as well. I don't have to join with the choices here, and the reporting is much easier. So as we can see, Fred Loddy is somehow needing some help with ServiceNow. And this is it. This is how many of our users using SnowMirror together with Tableau. So they are having replicated data on-premise in their own data center in the database they like, and they are simply working with data in a way they like. So this was the demo, and perhaps some final thing about SnowMirror. We have a free trial for 30 days. Please do not hesitate to download a free trial. It contains all the features. The support is included, so we are able to help you to build your proof of concept and to connect your not only Tableau but other reporting platforms to the replica as well, to the mirror database as well. So please don't hesitate to contact us. And we basically have two offerings. The main product is SnowMirror Enterprise, containing all the features. And we have a light offering for smaller ServiceNow customers with small instances. However, the light edition is limited to a MySQL database, and there is a data limit on a table basis. Yeah, so this is all from the content I have prepared for you, and I have a question here from one of you guys in the chat, if I can do some trending report. Of course, everything is on the data, it's based on the data. So there is a way to replicate ServiceNow views as well. So if you prepare a view on the ServiceNow side, then you are able to produce some more sophisticated reports. You are able to replicate some metrics tables as well. If you create a metric on the ServiceNow side, then again you might be having reports locally. Or you can replicate the history lines, or let's say the audit table, to really analyze what was happening in the journal. I would recommend more using the data warehousing approach, where you have simply the history in your own data warehouse. So SnowMirror in this case, or the whole approach, the whole architecture is not about like helping you building the data warehouse. SnowMirror is really just a replication tool, and then it's up to you where you connect the Tableau. So either you report really on top of the mirror database, and you can connect it to the data mart. Another question: do we have option to extract the data from archive tables? Yes, there is such an option. SnowMirror supports that. The thing is that the archiving tables have a bit different structure. For example, the relationships are not being maintained. ServiceNow is having just the display values in there. So, like putting together the current incidents with the archived incidents might be a bit of a work on your side in the mirror database. So yes, it is supported with some limitations for reporting. Another question: how deleted records are treated? We support several deleting strategies. The default one is using the audit tables. So if the table is audited, like most of the tables in ServiceNow are being audited, then if you delete a record, then the deleted record gets into the system journal. So SnowMirror reads the journal, and if there is any record deleted, then SnowMirror removes it from the mirror database as well. There are a couple of system tables where the auditing is disabled. Then we have a differential strategy, which is useful for tables, I would say, up to 100,000 records. Then it starts being slow on the ServiceNow side. And another approach can be that you simply don't delete the records. You are simply keeping all of the history if it is your use case. So these approaches can be like mixed. Another question: if this presentation will be archived? Yes, this is being recorded. You will get an email after the webinar finishes with the recording, and we will publish it on our website within the screencasts we are having. Another question: do we have an option in SnowMirror to extract from one table into multiple target tables? Yes, it is possible. As you saw in my demo, I was having incident replicated into one incident table, and then having another table incident full with a different setup. So yes, it is possible. You can have different schedules, different filters. For example, a very typical scenario is that users performing daily synchronization for all of the incidents, and then they are having some emergency reporting, like replicating every 15 minutes into a different table, just priority incidents number one, like only critical incidents are being replicated that often. So yes, this is definitely supported. Any more questions? You can even ask. You don't have to write into the chat.
Well, this is Bala. My question is like, do we have option like what I mentioned is like from incident table we have almost 80 columns. I want to keep it in two separate tables, like first 40 columns into one table and another 40 columns into another table.
I'm afraid that this is not supported, because our strategy or our approach is that SnowMirror is really a replication tool, like mirror, pure mirror, one-to-one. So how, as it is on the ServiceNow side, you have it on the mirror side. We don't provide any data mapping or something like that. We have a couple of features, as I was demonstrating, to make your reporting easier, but we are not manipulating the data in any way. We are not mapping it into your data structures. We are not converting the data, just a replication tool.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Hi, this is Gio. So I have a few questions. So one is the Tableau software you just show. Is a part of SnowMirror or is a separate product?
No. Tableau is, I would say, a leading business intelligence tool. So it is definitely a separate product. I think it's an American company, even listed on the stock exchange. So.
Oh, okay.
Of course. This was an example how to use, let's say, existing reporting environment you have in your organization with ServiceNow data. So we have many customers, having Cognos or Crystal reports or Microsoft reporting services, SAP Business Objects, but the idea or the architecture is the same. They are replicating the data into a mirror, and then they are playing with the data locally.
Oh, okay, understand. And one last question. So, if you talk about a solution which has SnowMirror and Tableau, definitely enterprise reporting, the source will be from multiple places. And one is ServiceNow, and they also need to get data from some other source. So, the SnowMirror will support that, or SnowMirror will take responsibility only to get data from ServiceNow?
We support only ServiceNow. And we have a separate product for Salesforce. But again, this will be just building your, let's say, staging area, building the replica. But the data blending is up to you. You have to build the ETLs, and you have to, produce the data warehouse log. Okay. SnowMirror is really just a very simple tool doing the replication.
Okay, and can we get attachment also extract as part of this SnowMirror synchronization?
Yes, there is a attachment replication feature. You can store the attachments onto a file system. So it's not storing the files into a database. It's storing it onto a file system. A typical use case is disaster recovery.
Oh, okay. So you use some blob type of data to keep the data.
If you, of course, you can load the tables that are called sysattachment and sysattachment dots into your database. Then you will be having the blobs with chunks of the files in your database. But much more useful feature is to load the real files onto a real file system and then work with the files locally.
Okay. Thank you, Scott.
Well, this is Bala again. One more question, sir.
Sure. Bala?
When you see that, we do have that logs, right? Like when in ServiceNow system we used to see the logs, but the logs will be get archived into daily basis, like into file system. Can we able to read the same file system?
Actually, we don't have such a feature to download the logs onto a file system. We support only attachments, like files attached to change requests or incidents or knowledge articles, but no log support. I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, got it. Thanks.
So, also one view here actually. So, see, our environment is actually domain separated one where we have multiple, and MSP platform where we have multiple customers data in same instance. So, is this SnowMirror supposed to support domain separated data? For example, can I get data with one separate domain?
Yes, it is supported. again, it is based on how the domain separation works. You can either use it for just one domain and distinguishing by permission. So simply if the SnowMirror user is having access just to one domain, then it downloads the data just from one domain.
Okay.
Or if you have a user with higher permissions, then you can separate the domains by really making it as a filter. Really, sysdomain equals something. So then you are able to build it this way. And yes, we support it.
Yeah, got it. Yeah, thank you.
Pavel, one more question. Sorry again. Do we need admin privileges for this?
For the evaluation purposes, we recommend using admin permissions. But for production use, we have a guide for you how to build a separate role. We even have an update set for you to make it easier for you. So for production purposes, please do not use the admin permissions, but the SnowMirror user account would have to have access to the metadata, such as system dictionary and some other tables.
Okay.
Okay, is there any other question? If not, then thank you very much for joining, and please feel free to download a free trial and give it a try, and feel free to contact me with any other questions or support. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Paul. Bye.
Goodbye, and see you at
Thank you.
Knowledge.